Alright everybody, on this video we are going to try to put in a license plate box. We're going to weld that into the rear hatch of this 94 Pathfinder. And on the inside of this there is a brace, and I was not sure where it was at on the inside. I went ahead and mounted I stuck the box up on here and I drew that line, and ended up I didn't want it there. I wanted it further over. So I just started drilling some holes. These holes will get cut out. So the first hole was a little bit off. The second hole was right here. That will be now the corner of my box. And whenever I built this Pathfinder originally, about 9-10 years ago, I did not have a hatch like this. I cut it basically here and then had this part lift up, and then I split it in the middle and had door hinges on each side. It was really cool, but it was going to take a lot of work to get door jambs put in. And whenever I was building that, I did put a box in. So here is one half of my door, and I had the license plate in that. That is how it worked, each side. And there was an outside door handle, but I had it on the inside, and that opened each side separate, and that was for a spinning spare, which I was able to rework and put in this Pathfinder. I just got this painted this morning. This is the blue. You can see all the pearls in it. I just got done spraying this about an hour ago. It might be ready to put on here in just a little while. This unbolts. It stabs in with this, and it bolts in 5 spots on each side. And then of course you will have the factory body mount in the middle. And I painted some of these things this pearl white, the same as white as my wheels and my fan and some other things. So here's the box that I built, and on this is a valve stem extension that I have cut down, and I like to weld those in because on valve stem caps you can pretty much get anything that you want for a valve stem cap, and you can get smiley faces or Dodge Ram logos and whatever you want. So if you were to be able to mount your license plate on with a valve stem, these do not weld in worth a crap. This is not real metal. I don't know what it is, magnesium or something. It's not weldable metal. So basically what you have to do is melt a bead around the valve stem extension. What a mess. So this one fell off while I was cutting the box out of that other thing. This one is loose, and that one is tight. This one's loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can put a couple beads around this to try to make that more solid. I might be able to just epoxy that in there at this point. It's a mess. So anyway, I'm gonna work on that, and then I put my box up here where the top corner will be. I've got it at a slight of an angle. I know used to, whenever I had my orange truck on the road, the police did not like these put in at an angle and were threatening tickets. Well, you cannot fix this unless you get super creative. We'll go out here. I'm not going to be able to show you my tailgate on this truck, but I have it to where it is on some little nipples that slide in and out of each other. I can unpin this and I can put that straight and then pin it back, and it sits away from the tailgate where it won't scratch. But whenever I'd get pulled over, I would just tell the police, hey, I forgot to straighten that. And I'd go back there and they'd say, oh, you went through a lot of effort to try not to break the law. So anyway, I didn't really have to use it but like once. But anyway, so I'm gonna take a cut wheel on my grinder, and I'm going to try to cut just as straight of a line as I can. And what I might do is drill centers. That way I don't have to get that close to the edge. And see if I can get this box to put in there. This box, most likely that is 14 gauge, and the sides feel like 1/8 inch thick steel. It's probably just a piece of flat steel, 2 inch or something, 1.5 inch, whatever I had. I probably built my frame the size that I wanted, and then I put in the 14 gauge, and it looks like I welded it really hard because it is warped. But nobody will ever know. I'm just going to see if I can get this put in today, get that welded up, and then I will also have to finish welding the bottom side of this skin. And then right here on the hard bodies, you will have a little hole right there where it's caved down to put a little piece of trim. Most of these don't have trim. All of the Pathfinders do. This is a hard body truck skin because they don't make them for the Pathfinders. Anyway, I'm gonna see if I can get a straight line here. All right, I cut my hole out. So that's what we've got as a hole. And I was trying to keep away from this brace inside of here. That's what I was doing. Keep away from the bottom. Just check and make sure the inside of your hole is going to be able to accept the thickness of a license plate Frenched. So we got the plate almost fitting in here. So at this point, what I'm going to do, I drew a line right there. I'm going to take a flat bisque. I'm going to knock off that line right there. This is a wore out flat disc, but that's what I'm going to use. It shouldn't take too much. Make sure you do not get this hot anywhere. Anywhere you get this hot, it will warp it. And then you're going to fight it. It was a little bit low right here already. Maybe I can work that out fairly easy. I feel it's high here. Maybe low right here and here. Maybe I can work that out. Just push on it a little bit and pull on it a little bit. I'm pulling with this and pushing with my thumb right here. It won't take much just to smooth that out. And I'll cut you back on in a little bit. Okay, got it all to fit, and I'm feeling of this and making sure it's not getting too hot as I weld. But I'm feeling for any low or high spots, and I am massaging those as I go. The only thing left to do is here to here. I didn't really feel any high or low spots all the way around, and I am staggering. So I would have welded here, and then probably here, and gone around a little bit, and then I came back and I hit in between some of those and let it cool some more as I go around, and then come back and hit some more. I'm gonna have to do this until it is basically a solid weld all the way around. But I do have a low spot right here, and I can feel it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just push my thumb on the inside right here, and it's not gonna require much. Just like that, just barely, probably 1/16 of an inch or so. And then I'm gonna hit this with a couple spot welds, let that cool, and then make sure that we're good. And then I will continue to weld around, and I'm gonna have to cut this lip off, but that is the depth that I need. I just used my finger and went around it and made sure that it was going to be sitting around the same depth all the way around. And then I'll clean this up and I'll try to weld these on a little bit better as I go. This is where the wiper and a piece that this had a gate right here that had a spare tire mounted to it. I think that was a little rubber piece or something to keep the gate from vibrating. But anyway, we're welding those up. So I just cut some probably 16 gauge steel and I bent that to the shape. I am not going to hold this with my hand, but I am going to hold that in with a tool. Oh, my bad. So now you can see. Alright, so I'm going to hold that in with a tool right here, and I'm going to try to start welding that in place. And I've got two of those. This one is going to go here, just like that, and I will weld that into place. If you hold that in with your finger, you're going to get burned. So if you can figure out a way to hold that in with a screwdriver or some magnets. These magnets are pretty cool. What I might be able to do is put these magnets next to the hole. And that might hold that plate in there. Just like that. So that might work. You have to be real careful, because if you start welding and it doesn't initially take a weld, you could push that deeper in there, and that would not be cool, because then that's going to require a lot of body filler. So just kind of keep that in mind, because it would move, but it would at least help you position that to where you could hold it on the back side with a screwdriver or something. Anyway, I've got this kind of welded in. That's going to require a lot of grinding, and it's going to be a very slow process grinding that in flush, because I cannot let that get hot. So it might have been better for me to have not done that. I could have marked this box where it needed to be cut, but it's gonna work. So, and this is not warped anymore. That's flat. This whole thing is barely gonna take any body filler unless something else happens. It can warp. So I've still got a weld in here and the bottom, and then grind all this back. So even grinding, you have to do it really slow, not to let it get warm, because that could also cause you to warp it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to shave some stuff up here. This was the third brake light. I can't really get to the back of that. I can get to the back of it in some spots, but not the whole thing. So I'm gonna have to get creative and we'll figure something out. We're getting there. I've got this almost all welded up good. I'm gonna hit it up in there just a little bit, down in here. I'm gonna hit that right in there, and right in there, and over here. That'll be ready to go. I've been doing some grinding on this. I just gotta hit some more welds here and there. Up in here a little bit. And grind the rest of this down. I've got this for the most part ground down. We're getting there. We have a license plate that is ready to go. Got that welded on. These other ones are, the looseness is gone. Tightened all that up. Those are boogers to weld in. So all of this is good. I'm gonna roll with all of this. The only thing left to do now is stitch up this bottom edge and then grind it down good. And this side edge, fill in the gaps right there. fill that gap on both sides. I don't have a fix for this just yet. I'm tempted to see if I can just take some steel and bend it to that shape and stick in the hole and then weld it to the edge. That would be easier, I think, than putting in some flat steel. I'll look at it in a minute. But my other hatch that I had, it's got the wing on it. This wing is going to have to be sanded down really good and clean. There's the third brake light that I'm trying to eliminate. I don't think I have a wing for the other one. I'm just going to go ahead and shave these holes and leave these end holes for this wing. Okay, to fill in this gap, I cut about a 5-inch piece, whatever size that I needed, and then cut a little bit smaller length piece. This is 1/8-inch steel. So what I did is I stacked them inside the hole, similar to that, right there. Now I'm going to just weld that in place. I'm going to grind that metal off right there. I'm going to grind that paint off down to metal right there, and then weld that all in. I'm going to stack these on this other side. I put just a little bit of curve to them. Just slide these guys down in there. I've not test fit these, so hopefully they fit. It's not super tight, but they do fit. Put that one in a little bit too far. I'll have to get a magnet or something and line this up and get that down to bare metal, and that should weld in fairly decent. I've got this bottom welded, and I'm gonna have to grind that smooth. It's very precise, so I'll cut you back on. Alright, so I've got it welded in. That's not going to move. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to mix up some panel bond. I'm going to squirt it inside that hole on both sides. That's with the panel bond squished in, and I actually ran out, so I don't have enough to do the other side. I'll just have to go to the store and get some more, and then that will be done. I'm going to go ahead and hang this back up on the Pathfinder, and I'm going to pull these out and shave these holes. I might try to do it right here. Just spin it around. It's getting crowded in here. I need to clean my shop up in a really bad way. I'll just see if I can do it right here. Alright, a friend of mine came over the other day, and he welded these holes up for me. So I didn't have to. He was helping me out pretty good. I'm going to grind this down to bare metal right here where that dent is, and I'm going to weld in some of that. I can't get to the back side of that to push that dent out, so I just decided that I would, instead of stud welding and pulling on that, I'm just going to try to weld that in, kind of fill the hole a little bit. The rest of that is pretty well ready to go. That one's a little bit low. I might throw a little bit of a weld in there so it doesn't have to be as thick with body filler. The rest of that's just about ready to go here. And what else was I doing on this video? I forget. Got so much stuff going on. I'll just grind this down and put a weld in there. I went ahead and unbolted all of the latches and hardware and got my keyhole and everything out of there. And so now at this point I'm going to scuff this with some 36 grit and start putting body filler in. I've got to get this off. That will just sand off, but I got to get it all off. I'm going to rough all of this up with 36. That way I know that my body filler will stick really well. This is a little bit wavy. It's not too bad really. This filled in really nice. It's pretty flush now. And there'll be a little bit of body filler here, not terrible. That is about flush, so that one is already about flush before tonight after work. Everything really should smooth out pretty good at this point. There's not any real waves. There's a little low spot right here I just felt. I might be able to hammer that out just a hair. I don't really want body filler that thick in this. That's the only real low spot that I feel. It's a hair low right here. It's not too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video here, and I will probably pick this up in the next video or the video after that, or we'll get somewhere with it. But I'll try to keep these videos down a little bit less time frame here. But that's how I shave these. That's how I French the license plate in. Alright, so like or subscribe or whatever, and I'll catch you next time.